right, recording
Excellent.
started.
We are live, and delighted to be joined today by Drew Neirin, and I've made sure that I'm pronouncing that correctly. Welcome to the Whisky Rev Blues, Drew.
Thank you, Graham. Oh, mate, I appreciate you taking the time to pronounce it correctly. I was actually getting used to the idea that I'd have to just start saying it wrong myself, because that's how most people say it. But no, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's good. It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
You must get lots of variations, right?
Yeah, Neirin. Rarely Neirin, unless someone's Welsh, and then they usually get it right. But it's all right. It's not that obvious how you say it, so I get it. Do you know what I mean? I totally get it.
Well, I'll just explain to people how it is that you kind of came onto my blues radar. So people will know, listeners will know that I get a lot of music sent to me, and a lot of that music is what you would expect, acts that I've heard of and acts that I'd find in various music magazines and things. And then occasionally you get albums which arrive in the inbox, and you hit play and you don't know what you're going to get, and you've got hopes and you've got expectations. And when your album came, so an album that came was called We Are Neirin, which I think is a expanded version of the album Bones. Is that right?
Yeah, that's bang on. Yeah.
And I hit play on it, and I was explaining to Drew before we started that when I hit play on an album, usually I'll flick through it, and I've got a kind of tendency to listen to the first 10 or 20 seconds. And if it grabs me a song, then I will jump somewhere into the middle, listen to maybe another 30-second section. And that's how I kind of narrow down or work my way through the amount of music that I get sent to me. But when We Are Neirin appeared and I hit play on it, and I thought, this is really good. And it was one of the rare occasions where I didn't want to stop listening. I didn't want to jump through to the middle of the songs. And so I ended up listening to the whole album, and I'd listened to it several times. And it was our album of the week, which was back in the 19th of January, where we played from We Are Neirin, Old Time Train and Mean Mean Man. And I think I said on the show that day that I couldn't decide which ones were the best ones to play. And so I kind of went with your recommendation, because your email, I think, had a couple of suggestions on it for what songs you thought were the ones to introduce your music, right?
Yeah, it did. Thanks for that, Graham. That's really nice. As I said to you before, I was made up. That made my day when you said that. I think I recommended Old Time Train and Mean Mean Man because they are amongst the bluesiest songs, so it would be the most relevant to play. I don't know if they're sort of my proudest in terms of like production and songwriting or whatever, but I mean, I'm fond of them. I'm happy with them. They go down great at gigs. So, and I've had a few, especially slightly older people that really like blues have commented on Old Time Train and said that they really like that. So I just went in with that suggestion. But yeah, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
And it's one of those songs where the opening couple of bars, and you think, oh yeah, I'm going to like this. Old Time Train. And the name is a bluesy name, right? But
yeah,
as soon as you hit play and you go, oh, this is it. This is what I'm hoping for when I hit play on a song I've never heard yet.
That's amazing. Thanks, man. Do you know I recorded that? So I recorded that song using. I don't think I've ever actually had the chance to even explain this, but I used quite a cheap Telecaster, and I played it with using one of them little orange Crush amps. There's just something about it that sounded so unique that I was like, I'm going to record some songs using this amp, and I just loved the way they sounded. They sounded so almost like if you tried to do that digitally, I just don't think you'd have been able to. So that's why I recorded that, and yeah, I'm really fond of how that track came out.
It's nice for us as listeners to hear that kind of thing, because I suspect we probably just assume, you've got a studio set up, wherever it is, and you just go and you just record all your songs the same way. But it's nice for us to hear that you take such specific attention to it that you decide that we're better with one amp than another, or one guitar than another. That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, on one hand, it's quite enjoyable, right? But do you play yourself, Graham?
I'm very much a student of guitar and a bit of blues harmonica. I'm not at a level where I could play along really with anybody who knew
what's your go-to guitar style? Like, as in, sorry, type of guitar.
So I've got a Gibson Les Paul in there, but I've recently bought the one behind it is a Michael Messer resonator guitar. So I'd
Oh wow.
signed up for an online slide guitar course, which I'm only at the very beginning of. But
Oh,
that's
I
kind of
love it.
where I'm heading.
Class. Have you listened to any? Do you listen to Tedeschi Trucks band much?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, I
Derek.
played them I think last week on the show.
The slide guitar Derek Trucks does is just like, uncomparable, isn't it? I just think he's so class.
Well, I did a slide guitar special, not like this coming week, Monday past, but a week past, and we played this Sky, which I had to kind of try and pronounce properly rather than say this guy. It was this Sky, but it was
Okay.
probably and I guess it's what a lot of people will say when it comes to slide guitar. It's Ry Cooder, "Feeling Bad Blues" from Crossroads. You know
Well,
that from
okay.
the film, and that's what drew me into it. I thought I would love to be able to make that sound. We've got
Class.
somebody join us. We've got Big Jimmy Jazz from Boston who's tuning in to listen to our chat.
Oh
I don't know if you can see
yes.
there's a chat room at the side.
No, I can't. That's all right. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I know from you. Class. Hey,
Welcome,
Jimmy.
Jimmy. So yeah, I think we probably are just assuming that people who play an instrument go into a studio, record it, and then produce it. But I mean, for every track, I'm guessing from what you say, you have to make sure that you've got the combination right. And do you know when it is? I mean, do you know when you write a song that what you're hoping for and how you tweak it, and then when you strum it, you go, that's it, that's the right sound for this song.
Yeah, I think so. Because sometimes I'll have the setup there. So I record everything at home. I do like I grab all the cushions I can find, shut all the doors, turn everything off, and I just try and minimize outside noise. And I've got 2 amps at the moment. I've got just that little orange cushion. I've got a Boss Katana, and then I've got a couple main recording guitars. One of them's a hollow body PRS, which I've done a lot of the songs with. So I'm fresh out of bad luck, is with that. But there are times, sorry, where I'll have a setup already, like 1 amp, 1 guitar, and I'll have recorded 2 songs, the start of 2 songs, and then just to get things done, I'll record like 5 or 6, and then I'll bin off 4 of them because it wasn't right, So those are little sort of attentions to detail, I think, that just give the song its character. Yeah, so I always start with the guitar. Because that's how I write a song. I start with the guitar. So this guitar is the first thing to be recorded, basic rhythm, and then I would maybe take some out eventually, because you typically hear that, like, usually the rhythm guitar in blues moves out of the way for the bass and the drums, right? But I sort of quite don't know. I like the rhythm being left in a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's because I listened to like a lot of rock when I was growing up and stuff. But so yeah, and I think there's something about in a studio, you would have your pick of things, and you'd probably opt for quality. By which I mean the expensive, well-known gear as much as you can.
Yeah, sure.
But I love the idea that you come up with something and you're like, this sound is so what I was after, and so like unique that I won't necessarily hear something exactly the same, and that the reason is because I was careful about what I chose, and I chose something much cheaper than would have been used on many recordings or whatever, So now I do use digital sources. Like I like to use a variety of live loops for drums and then mix them together and try to work on the percussion as its own little project until something sounds authentic enough to bring into the mix. But yeah, with I sort of forgot where I was drifting with that. I don't know. Yeah, sorry. With the one thing that I sort of think can't be replaced is the guitar for me in that sense,
Yeah. It's nice because we hear it and we hear the result and we hear the quality, but we probably couldn't articulate what it is that makes it sound right to us. But
Yeah.
we know when we hear you chanting that it's because you've got the mix right between the instruments and the amplifier and all the individual elements. So how did
Yeah.
you get into blues music? What was your journey to where you are now? You mentioned you liked rock when you were younger. How did
Yeah.
you end up there?
As a teenager, I really like rock and like Rage Against the Machine. I often say Tom Morello's another influence on me guitar wise. But when I was very young, I just thought blues sounded really cool, and my dad liked it. So I remember, my dad liking it, and the film The Blues Brothers. I saw that from such a young age, and I must have seen it 100 times. And then I remember thinking, I just thought they were cool. It was cool. All the songs were great. And then my dad listened to blues, as I said, and he liked a lot of the kind of roots revival rhythm and blues kind of stuff in the 70s, like Dr. Feelgood. So he had his own tastes in that area. But I ended up getting, I think my mum and dad would buy me, and my mum's dad, actually, my granddad, he Welsh granddad, he would play boogie on the piano now and then. And whenever he did, it would just blow me away. It'd be like the coolest thing I'd ever seen. So, and then I would end up getting lots of those Blues Brothers Soul Sister cassette tapes. There's the compilations that presumably they still do in some way or shape or form. And I would love like every bit of those albums. Like I'd love the soul parts as well. And that's how I was introduced to people like Etta James. But when certain songs were like Mannish Boy, Muddy Waters, that just sounded like the coolest song to a 9-year-old. And then I started playing guitar at maybe 11. And when I started to get, I think I was just automatically in rock bands. And then at the moment I started to get reasonably okay at guitar, I had a guitar teacher and he just started showing me blues. And then it was like, I was sort of full circle in a way. But blues would only play a small role in what I played in sort of bands and live gigs and stuff like that until I was about 30, maybe. I'm 39 now. Right. And then at about 30, I really started incorporating some proper blues tracks into my set. And then the moment I did that, I was like, everything else seems a little bit out of place. So that was like my true love. And then everything switched then for me. My set became way more original music. Blues and soul became sort of the foundation of everything that I do, essentially.
So now, you mentioned when I was talking, or emailed you once, twice about setting this up, and asked you to pick a couple of tracks that you thought of as influences, and the two you mentioned were Big Bill Broonzy's version of Hey Hey and Going Down by Freddie King. So what is it about those two tracks that sticks out for you?
I think I love Eric Clapton's Unplugged album. I've been listening to that album consistently for as long as I can remember. We had it on cassette tape in the car when I was a little kid. And obviously since learning guitar, my relationship with those songs has changed over the years. I just think that album is such a staple, beautiful acoustic blues album from someone, from a white British guy. But he just nailed it. And then that led me to like a curiosity of acoustic blues music. And when I heard Big Bill Broonzy's, original version of Hey Hey, I just thought that whole thing that it's just a guy with acoustic guitar tapping his foot, his foot tapping on whatever floor is there is literally the drum beat. The acoustic guitar is everything else. And then the guy's singing. And it's like some of the earliest forms of, some one man band's the wrong word, but one person doing everything that needs to be done on the one thing. And so I just think, and I can play, I don't really learn many covers or riffs to the exactity of what they are, but that's one that I have learned because I just think it's so simple because it's just 12-bar blues in E. But it's just done so majestically that I just think, and the fact that it's like such an old recording, it still sounds so amazing and so authentic. I just think it's a banger.
And I agree. I love Big Bill Broonzy, and of all the old ones, he was one of the most prolific recording artists of the whole of that generation. And yet he's not. It's as though there's an element that are kind of forgetting about him. You don't hear him quite as much as you once did, even maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah, sure.
It's such heart in his music.
Massively. And as I say, like probably like many people, Clapton was what drew me to him.
Yeah. A lot of people through Clapton and even through, I suppose, the Rolling Stones as well, discovered blues without realizing what it was they were hearing.
Yeah. It's so weird, actually. I didn't even know that, really. And yet it sounds like obviously I should, but because I think the blues that my mum and dad were showing me on tapes and stuff ended up being the original people most of the time. Lots of Muddy Waters and John Lee Hooker and BB King and stuff. That when I would play like a Howlin' Wolf song at a gig, someone would come over and say, "Oh, I really like that Rolling Stones song you did." And I would think, "What? I don't even know what you're talking about." And then, yeah, friends would be like, "It's a Rolling Stones song." And honestly, literally, I never even knew that was the case. But I find it really interesting, the whole kind of post-war British blues revival and stuff, and like taking and the influence that had in the States is mesmerizing as well. I didn't even know about that. Like, some American guy was chatting to me a couple of years ago and telling me all about it and stuff. And I've listened to some podcasts on it recently. It's fascinating stuff.
I heard it, and people like Joe Bonamassa saying his biggest influence was these British blues acts when he was growing up.
Yeah,
And he
makes
played
sense,
live with BB King and everything, but that was what got him into it. But the Stones, I was a latecomer to the Stones. I'm happy to confess my
Sure.
my
Same.
stupidity in it. But there's the album Blues and Lonesome, which I think must have been about 10 years ago. And Just Your Fool was the first song, and it came on the radio, and I didn't know who it was, and I went, this is amazing. And it was
Right.
it was the Stones doing blues. Big Jimmy Jazz is going to say my intro to blues was Savoy Brown and Pat Metheny. Love it all. Savoy Brown is a good one. Who was it? Savoy Brown used to do it's gone, Partnership.
I have to confess, I don't know that name.
Yeah, but yeah, we all remember our entry into the blues, right?
Yeah. What was yours, Graham? What was your
Mine was embarrassing. I had been pottering around with guitar, and then I thought I need to actually learn how to play this. So I went to a guitar teacher. It was rock was what I was into. And the guy said to me, "Right, you need to listen to this stuff." And it was Muddy Waters. And I went, "Blues, it's not really me." And he went, "Listen, when I get a kid who comes to learn guitar and I say to them, 'Who do you like to listen to?' And they'll say, at the time it was like Limp Bizkit or something like that. Right, go and find out who they liked." And they come back and they go, "Iron Maiden." He says, "Right, you need to just keep going back and back, find out who they liked, who they liked, and then who they liked." He says they always come back and go, "Muddy Waters." So
that's amazing.
and so that was why I listened to it, because he said I would learn technique, and it was through trying to do that I thought, actually, these people have something to say. There's a message here which is more than 12 bars or just notes and vocals. And yeah, that was how I became a blues convert.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, and so the whole just I'm saying it from you saying more than just 12 bars and notes and things. Sometimes a little while ago, someone said to me, it was a playlist curator on Spotify, had said to me, 12 bar blues has been done and done and done. That's exactly what he said. And then, but I thought, like, well, the point of it is not to have necessarily some brand new creation of where the chords go, is it? 12 bar blues is like it's an underlying platform for something to go, like a beat or whatever. It doesn't, it's already beautiful, and then you build the rest on top of it.
It's like a canvas for the painter to come along, and because so when I say more than like 12 bar blues or whatever, it's that there's something behind it. That's the expression of it. But you need to I discovered there was something behind that. And for these early blues guys, of course, it was very much life is really difficult, and we have no way of having an outlet. We've no way of escaping it, and blues became that.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jazz is saying Savoy Brown, of course, became Foghat without Kim Simmons. The Savoy Brown Kim Simmons stuff was what I played in my very first show. I played a track with the two of them. But Foghat, cool. Of course, still getting stuff sent to me by Foghat, which is good stuff. So yeah, and the good thing about 12 bar blues, I suppose, in that context is, you can probably sit with somebody for a couple of lessons and have them playing a 12 bar blues, right? Even if they've never picked up a guitar. But at the same time, you can play for years and not master every subtlety of it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. But it means that you don't have to be an expert to join in with a blues jam, which I really like. I think people get a little bit lost when it's a jazz jam. You have to be at least able to solo and stuff to sort of join in a jazz jam, or be good with all the chords and that. But with a blues jam, it's like it feels like, for me, it covers the entire spectrum of class. From the beginning to masterful artists and whatever. Yeah, I love a good blues
Absolutely.
jam.
And open blues nights. I guess there'll be some in Bath. You mentioned the blues scene in Bath, and there was a few in Glasgow. In fact, I noticed the back of your CD cover is a photograph taken, I think, in Howlin' Wolf in Bath
Yeah, it
Street
is.
in
Yeah.
Glasgow. And
Oh,
they
good
have
spot.
open mic nights and things. And now let me just I checked this because you're involved in a music promotion thing down in Bath where you live, aren't you? Where did I read that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it called?
So MPB, Musicians and Promoters of Bath.
Musician Promoters Bath. Yeah, MPB. I
Yeah.
had written down.
I set it up at a time where I was doing like booking for venues and stuff, and I was just trying to get kind of an alternate, joy from music than just playing. And I had a really nice thing for a while where I was the promoter and kind of compare at this place in Bath, and I would host musicians every week, and then I'd play, and then I'd sit and listen to them. And eventually, half the time, I ended up just joining in with them and stuff like that. So it was a really beautiful time. Now that's kind of evolved into a music nights thing, because I run some open mic and jam nights, and that's kind of, for me, like suppose it's an altruistic outlet, because this whole thing can be a little bit self-loving and whatever. What I mean, self-loving is the wrong word, but it's a little bit like, listen to me, look at me, listen to me, this is what I've done. And eventually that's a little bit too much, and it's like, I think you should at least aim to do something that helps other people. And at the open mics, I get to watch people perform for the first time, and then I get to see them performing 2 years later, and they've like gotten competent at this, that, and the other. And you know how it is. People get really emotional, have such a wonderful connection with it, and then you see people be in their serious selves or whatever, and then they get up and perform, and then it's like all that's kind of out the door. Really, it's just this beautiful thing. So yeah, MPB is now more of a music night thing in Bath, and I run like 10 to 12 music nights a month in Bath. So that's a big
month.
part of.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a real big part of it. I do more gigs than that, but I do those nights. It's a nice change of pace.
Well, I was going to say for listeners, in fact, I've got them up here because you seem to really enjoy gigging, right? Looking at your
I
website.
love it. Yeah, it's irreplaceable.
And I was down in Glasgow, and I kind of missed you. We were there at the beginning of February playing at the Howlin' Wolf, and then Edinburgh and Aberdeen. But if people want to look, and let me just say that the website is drewneirin.com. So I'll spell that out: DREWNEIRIN. DrewNeirin.com, and you can see the gigs there, and you can learn about Drew's music. But you seem to be a kind of one of those hardworking musicians.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. Part of it's like it's the only way to make the bills pay when you're a musician, but at the same time, I actually love it so much, and that, like, if I have 2 days off in a row, I'll get itchy feet. I'll be like, no, I need to do some music. It's the only way I connect with the world and the people in it. So, yeah, I love to gig. And
when it comes to writing a song, do you wait, one of these writers who wait until something hits you and you think, right, that I can feel a song generating, or do you think, right, I'm going to sit down today and write a song and do it kind of cold?
Oh, definitely both. And the latter often amounts to nothing.
Yeah.
But then, the amount of times the amount of songs that I've written that end up not happening anyway. It's just good to get the ideas out somehow anyway, isn't it? And sometimes when you do that, right, I'm just going to sit down and do something, you'll just get some chords or a riff together in a way that you hadn't thought you would or you didn't do before, and then that becomes a foundation for for the former in the future. Whatever idea comes up, is like, oh well, I had this thing I haven't used yet. So Mean Mean Man, that was just my kind of version, the way that I play the notes around a sort of walking 12-bar bluesy riff. I just play them in a certain way where I just just in a way that was sort of unique to myself, and then but I'd never really made a song out of that. And then when the idea of the idea of writing a song about just a jerk came to mind, I thought, well, there we go, it's perfect. I'll write that.
Is that therapeutic for you? Does it get something out of you that?
Yeah, for sure. But it's almost like it's not even a thing until it's performed or recorded and there's a version, which is really unfortunate. I mean, I envy some people, they just like to just play for themselves, right? And I think that's a beautiful thing. But yeah, once a song is created, that's just like, it's like preparing a meal without eating it. It's hear it, I need to take this to a gig or an open mic, or I need to get it recorded and send the version to people and see what people think and stuff like that. So that's what happens with that, basically. Yeah.
And do you have people who will tell you, listen, Drew, this needs more work. This is not finished yet, or something? I mean, that'd be strikes me as quite a hard thing for a friend to do.
Yeah, I'm not really good at that either. When people give, because it's so unbelievably subjective that they're somewhere in the world. I don't know how many of them are, but there are people that what they want from a song is so closely intertwined with what I want from a song that they'd be happy with what I do. But I also feel that, like, it's reasonable. People have said things to me in the past, and one or two things people have said have actually made a real difference, and I've thought actually it was valuable for them to say that, and I've listened to that. Even if I didn't enjoy it at the time, it was useful for them to say that. With the recording songs, I'm plenty enough of a critic for myself, So I've probably recorded I don't know, 150 songs maybe over the last 3 years, and I don't know, maybe 25 of them have come out, something like that, 30 maybe, I don't know. And that's just that, they don't stand the test of time at all. Half the songs that I've released in the world right now haven't stood the test of time in my own mind. I've been like, my wife Marie convinces me to leave them there. She's like, somebody will like it, just leave it alone. But yeah, that's it.
We Are Neirin has 15 songs on it, doesn't it? And I mean,
yeah,
because I listened to them all, and normally you in the old days, right, when it was, you would skip through songs, but an album, or fast forward on a tape and all the rest of it. But I'm old enough to remember tapes and things. But there's nothing. I'm looking at the list just now. There was no songs in that. I mean, I don't have to say this, so this is absolutely true. There's no songs on it that made me think, okay, I'll skip past that one. When I was trying to find two to play, I genuinely, I could have picked any two and been happy with it. So that speaks to me of somebody who spends a lot of time, almost meticulously crafting not just the songs, but the album itself. So yeah,
thanks,
I think you
Graham.
deserve a lot of credit for that.
That means a lot. I really appreciate that. Yeah, honestly, as you pointed out before we went live, it's an ultimate edition, I suppose, of the album Bones, and I released the album Bones, and then I had all the other tracks that are on the ultimate edition. They're not like B-side songs. They're songs that I've either several of them, like the good part, I've recorded that 3 times and released it 3 times, and then over the years, not like the version at all, took it down and then re-recorded it differently and stuff like that. So a great deal of those songs, some of them are brand new, some of them were just never recorded and recorded brand new. Those two that I just described really are the makeup of the album Bones. And then I had the songs that I felt were kind of my favorite in terms of standing the test of time for my own ears in terms of their production quality, which is not 10 years, it's like 2 years. So I sort of picked my favorites, and then it was kind of like a plethora of like get all the songs that I'm really fond of. And I kept, when I release an album, then you hear the sort of 4 tracks that are kind of like probably what you mean, you'd skip them. They're often kind of filler tracks anyway, I think, and they're sort of like, you know, most sort of famous people with record labels and all sorts will have like a deadline and stuff like that, so inevitably they'll do those tracks. And I thought, well, I don't have to do that. So for me it was about get all the songs together and like genuinely say there are no rules, you know, there are no rules for me. Has it been released before? You know, have you re-recorded this? Whatever. For me, it's like there's no rules at all. I can do whatever I want. Like, no, I'm literally my own boss in this journey. So I just thought, pick, and I think I had about 30 to sit and choose from, and then I was like, right, these are the 15 that I think speak the loudest for what the way that I write songs, the way that I play the guitar, the way that I perform, the way that I produce my music, and that I felt gave me the most variety. And then it was like, right, now I've got the songs, what's the order? And the order took absolutely forever, you know, which doesn't mean anything on streaming platforms at all. So because of that idea to myself, that the order took absolutely forever, and the album in what it is, down to the artwork and everything, was like so important to me. That's why it only exists as a CD. It doesn't exist anywhere else. And except, you know, digital download for if I send it to somebody. And frankly, if anybody from anywhere in the world contacted me and they were like, I really want this album for a digital download, I'd just send it to them. I'd have no issues with that at all, because that means more than any money does. But yeah, so it only exists as a CD. It could exist as a vinyl one day. If I can afford that, probably not going to be the case. But yeah, it will only exist as physical media unless someone has it as its own thing, basically. So that's the point of We Are Neirin. Yeah. Also, We Are Neirin. Sorry to ramble on, Graham, but We Are Neirin is thanks, man. I felt that like most of the recording and the songs are my own thing, my own project, my own babies. But I feel so heavily supported by the people that join me in my band. My wife, Marie, on the bass she's just incredible. Earl, he's such a legend. He plays keys for me, and he's a great friend, and he'll go out of his way for me. And then most of the time, our drummer is this bloke named Tom, who has played a lot with the Terraplanes. He used to be in the Terraplanes Blues Band, which feel like you probably know. Well. Yeah, they're brilliant, aren't they? I know Nick as well. He's brilliant. They're a class band. And so, yeah, and all of them will, you know, if I say we've got a gig 2.5 hours away and you're going to make very little money, but it'll be really good, they'll all just do it. So I'm so blessed. I'm so very blessed for that. Like, I'm aware of how hard it is to be in a band and be supported by people, that I wanted to include them. And like Neirin, whilst it is my name, it's not just me, it's them. So that's why it's called We Are Neirin, and hence the ultimate edition of the album, I guess.
Yeah. But I think, although Bones has, I think, 10 tracks on it, the other 5 are available as singles, aren't they? So Old Time Train isn't on Bones, but it is available as a single on streaming platforms. And
yeah,
I think would that be right? So that people can still access it if they.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there are maybe 1 or 2. Actually, they might just all be released. You're right. Yeah. So that's it though, right? So they all exist somewhere for people to listen to, and you know, on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. But that's right. They felt that I released them as singles because I didn't sort of know where they landed when it came to albums. So when it came to creating the album We Are Neirin, and as I said, the order, I wanted to take songs that I was particularly fond of, that I felt deserved to be part of like a story.
Yeah.
And that's why that album includes them. Yeah.
And are we at a place, you think, in the music industry where that whole idea of traveling 2 hours for a gig and not making much money, and that relies on people doing it for the love of the music, doesn't it? Is that where we kind of are for, you know, independent people who are making good music, but they've not got big contracts or big labels.
I think to
without
some
being
degree.
negative.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's easy to listen to that cynical part of your mind and just dive into it. And I could easily do that. But on the other hand, like, it's not always that bad. You can sometimes persuade venues to give you sort of just enough that when you get home, it's like it's a significant amount towards your bills, you know, whether that's 80 quid each or 100 quid each or something like that. That's not, you know, that's not a bag of crisps. That'll help you out. So, and some venues can't afford that, but they're such great places to play, and they know they are, and they know that they'll treat you well, and that they'll sing your praises, and they'll create a nice space for you, and people will come and listen. Then it's like, okay, we're only going to make like 50 quid each on this, and that's most of our petrol or whatever, but it's worth it in so many ways, so we still do those gigs. But I think that I would say that 3 out of 4 gigs pay enough to call it a wage, whether that means aligning with minimum wage or what, I don't even know, but I don't know what that is anymore. So yeah,
I don't know.
It's all good. Yeah, no, that's it.
But it is, I mean, a lot of the music I go to, similar things. Sometimes you think that people, they've come quite far, you don't know how much they're going to get, but they do it for the love of it. And that makes, I mean, I would like to see everybody getting paid well, but that makes the music really good. It tends to be really good when people are doing it because it's in them and they want to let it out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so, I know quite a few musicians that are so focused on the money that I just genuinely think it doesn't show. The music love part doesn't show so much when they perform. They're obviously really good, otherwise they wouldn't be able to get all that money. But it just, yeah, when you get so obsessed with the money, it just takes away from it, doesn't it? And when Marie and I travel as a duo, so when we play as a duo, that's when usually we make enough to be a bit of a wage. But when we travel as a duo, I don't ask for like petrol costs and stuff. That's like a standard thing that people say you can do. But I just think, I don't know, I can't. That's not their problem, really. Do you know what I mean? Like the venue or that, they're there and I want to play there, so I'm going to go there and I worry about getting there, and then they pay me what they pay, you know, whoever down the road or whatever. So that's sort of how I feel about that, really.
And how often does she get to accompany you? Are you mainly solo or with Earl, or does Marie normally play with you?
So on an average week, I would play, I'd say, well, there isn't an average week, so I don't know why I'm saying that. An average month, there we go. On an average month, I would do 2 solo gigs, probably 6 duo gigs, 3 trio gigs, and 2 band gigs. So it's in that order, really. The most gigs are at least as a duo with Marie. So we do a lot of duo gigs together. Even when it's supposed to be a solo gig, I'll say, do you mind if Marie comes? Because it's just better. I do enjoy playing solo, but usually that's when it becomes an acoustic guitar, you know, acoustic soul, Delta blues kind of approach. But when Marie's there, she plays the bass. I've got a nice little stomp box that I like, and we can sound band-esque anyway. And then I can just, you know, do a couple of solos on an electric guitar, which is what I like to do. So yeah, it's better when she's there.
And do you always perform under the name? Is it? I know that when you're a group, you're Neirin, but is it like Drew Neirin or Neirin when it's the two?
Yeah, I think Neirin, and sometimes I'll specify Neirin duo, Neirin trio, or just Neirin. But all in all, I wanted the name Neirin to the Drew Neirin performance outfit that isn't just me on my own.
It certainly has the. I mean, I don't think I've ever come across another Neirin. So it has that kind of unique, memorable. If you see it, you would go, "Oh yeah, I remember seeing that guy in Howlin' Wolf years ago," or something like that.
I think I'm fortunate in that sense, just in our kind of genre, in our kind of niche community and stuff, in this whatever, then it doesn't really show up. There are a couple of Neirins around, but it's very seldomly used word. I think I actually searched on maybe it was at YouTube or something, and there was another Neirin musician, just one called Neirin, but we were nothing alike. So years ago, because my surname is Hall, when I was sort of 19, 20 odd, I was like, all right, let's look up Drew Hall. There are so many Drew Halls that are white with a beard playing guitar and singing in the world. There are so many, it's painful. I didn't even know, how many there are. And my name's Drew as well, not Andrew. It's Drew, and I thought that would set me apart from people, but no, apparently not. So,
so to get back to touring it, and understand that, I mean, was at the start of this year you were in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like? Was it how many gigs did you do in the States, and was it did you get to the Delta? Did you get to perform Iconic?
No, really? So all that happened with that was I went to New Orleans with my brother for a couple of days, and there was only one time where I knew I'd get to play. I spoke to one of the days. I just went around listening to other people, going and chatting to them. Spoke to a few buskers. And that was great for me anyway. That was amazing just as a music fan. And then I connected with a few people doing that, gave out a few CDs, got given a few CDs, which was really nice. It was a blues jam, a big, really good, really full of awesome talent blues jam on, was it French Street? It was a street where everyone was like, oh, the tourists know Bourbon Street, but this is the real street sort of thing. And you were on that street and it was lit up with all kinds of crazy colors. There was all kinds of bands playing along the street when I got there. But I'd contacted them in advance and I said, I really want to play, and I really want to play a good amount. Like I want to play properly. I don't just want to get up and play one or two songs. And I sent them my music, and then I chatted with the house bands, the lead singer, John Leasy, who's a legend, John Leasy's wife. I chatted with her, and she was awesome. And she spoke to me and said, "Yeah, don't worry, we've got a house guitar." I think she told me it's a Telecaster. You can play. I mean, I am more of a Strat guy, but I love a Tele. And she was like, "Right, you can play the Strat. The house band will accompany you, everything." So I got up and I did just a few songs, and then they really liked me, and they said, "Right, you stay there." So I stayed there, and then I was playing guitar alongside various other people that I've never met. I don't know how many people I jammed with that day, and then later on I got to lead about another. So I led something like 10 songs. I played a few of my own songs, and then just a few really classic blues songs that they liked. And thankfully, every time they asked me, "Oh, do you know this one? We're going to jam this one," I did, and that nearly never happens. I got to play. What do we play? St. James Infirmary. And a really old fella from New Orleans was singing that and playing trumpet, and I got to be the guitarist for that. And that was, I can't believe I'm in New Orleans right now playing St. James Infirmary while this old fella sings it. Like that was such a, yeah, it was really one off the bucket list for me. Yeah, I loved it. It was such an amazing experience.
It totally sounds it. I mean, would you go? Presumably, you would go back, but I mean, I would love to tour the Delta and stuff like that. But to do it whilst able to play like that, would be a real dream come true, I think.
Absolutely. I almost unfortunately, this is my ego talking, but I couldn't really do. There's certain places I couldn't go to without playing.
Yeah,
I just have to play there while I can. And just I don't necessarily have a big enough name, yet I guess to walk into certain places and sort myself out gigs and stuff. But what I'll do is I'll just use the platforms they already have, like their open mics or blues jam, and then I'll try and I'll message them way in advance and I'll see what I can get away with, and I'll be like, right, can I turn this into a bit of a gig for myself instead? And most of the time that works in my favor, so I get a good experience. So hopefully I'll be able to do that one day with Memphis and Chicago. That'd be really good.
yeah.
And
then so looking through your website, there's photos of it. It's not the New Orleans one. I think it is in Lausanne, Switzerland. The green Stratocaster, is that your, like a pale green? Is that your go-to?
Yeah. No, so my go-to Strat is my white Strat. I've got a white Mexican Strat, which I love a lot. That green one's actually, the vintage brand, the UK brand.
Yeah.
So it's a V6. It's I mean, anyone who knows that brand, it's like it's one of those. It's quite a cheap guitar, punches way above its weight. That guitar is like, I feel like I could chuck it around a bit, care about it less, get some dings in it. And we were driving through Switzerland, so we're driving through France to Switzerland. So I just had that one just in the bag, and we bussed with it and sort of. But it sounds great, plays great. You know, I really like the guitar. So that one is kind of my jam night, sometimes touring guitar. But my main strat is the white strat, definitely. Yeah.
And how's the album going? Because I saw on your Facebook page that the Bones you'd some stats for how it was going in terms of number of listens and streams and things. Is it going well? It seems to be going pretty well.
It does seem to be going pretty well. Yeah, there are certain songs that stand out more than others. It's an interesting one because the main outlet for the modern world is Spotify or whatever. I wouldn't necessarily say that the main outlet for blues fans is Spotify. I don't know that for a fact, but quite a lot of people like their own avenues, whether that's, YouTube, Amazon, whatever. But people will often, if it's someone that's really enjoyed the music at a blues gig and they're clearly a blues fan that's gone for that reason, and then they come over and then they chat with me, they'll often want a CD, or they'll say, are you on, something like Apple Music or whatever? And unfortunately, just the way it is with like the distributor that I use and stuff, it's DistroKid. I think it's the one that nearly everyone uses. I can only see the stats on Spotify. But I listen to lots of music on Spotify, and I listen to loads of blues on Spotify. So it's definitely an avenue, and I can look at that, and I pour my time and my money and my energy into trying to get those songs heard everywhere. And it's the only one I can really track how well they're being listened to. But the nicest thing is when someone's got the album and then says to you personally, like you did, Graham. Like as I said, really made up with that. When they say to you personally, "Oh, that I listened to your album and loved it," or like I listened to it in the car and like my kid loves this song or whatever. That's the sort of more meaningful reel, because otherwise it's all just about numbers, isn't it? And like that's not as real. Yeah, that's not as real. I suppose. Do you have that as well with your show? You obsess over the numbers a little bit sometimes.
I because it's FM. I have no way of knowing how many people listen to it. We know how many people listen through the website, but it's an ego thing. I deliberately never ask. Right?
Oh, good.
What is utterly demoralizing, right, is Space Sound Radio. So I sometimes listen to other shows on Space Sound Radio, and there's a guy who does a funk show and a guy who does a 60s show and all the rest of it. And they'll say things like, right, so I got an email from somebody here saying they enjoyed last week's show and asking if we can play this. And I get none of that. So I do sometimes say in the show, if you would like to get in touch with the Whisky Rev at spacesound.com, and just to let me know that there's anybody out there. So what I started to do was put on Mixcloud. So we don't have a catch-up facility, which is why I do this on YouTube, because then you're interviewing an artist and you're not relying on their fans hearing it just when it was broadcast live for the first time, because you can see, right, that link's up there forever. So I started putting them on Mixcloud last summer because it was 5 years of the show, and I did 3 shows that were entirely covers of Robert Johnson songs. So it's just a 3-show kind of special feature, and I thought, I'm going to just pay the money and put these on Mixcloud. And when you put them on Mixcloud, you tag them, blues, Delta blues, Chicago blues, and all the rest of it. And a couple of weeks after I put the first ones on, I got an email from Mixcloud to say, you're in the, I can't remember what it was, might have been the Delta Blues tag. On the Delta Blues on Mixcloud, you are number 3 in the global charts. And I got this email and thought, oh, I've arrived. This is it. So it went online. 6 people had listened to it.
Okay.
So I went from being 3rd in the globe. I was all ready to put that on my website, like 3rd in the globe. 6 people had listened to it. But I do it because I love the music, and I want other people to be able to And blues is it's my escape. It's therapy for me. It's a voice that you can resonate with. You go, I understand how these people feel, and they understand how I feel, and that's what
Yeah.
I love it. I've actually Jimmy Jazz, who's been listening to us all this time, is saying to you, I'm listening to you on Spotify in the background. Great stuff. Well done, Drew. I will spread the music.
Oh, Jimmy, thank you. Jimmy is a strong name. That was my granddad's name, Jimmy. He passed away about 2 years ago. He was a Ouija as well. So yeah, that's a good name.
And was he the granddad who also lived on Skye, or was that the other side?
No, that's right. Yeah, yeah, he lived on Skye. Yeah, he wasn't from Skye originally. My granny was, and he married her, but he was from Glasgow, and they both lived in Comrie. Yeah,
A lot of the best
yeah,
people are from Glasgow. Oh.
that's true.
Well,
They are. They are.
if we say have Glasgow blood in them, that's more inclusive, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Did you ever speak any Gaelic, Graham, in school or anything like that?
No, do you know when I was growing up, it was really just in sort of the Western Isles that it was spoken. And
Yeah,
I mean, it was never really spoken in Glasgow. It was more like we had Scots, it was spoken. And by the time I came along, it was more, if we used Scots words, or and as much as it survived, it was like it was more slang words. And you would be told, not to use that word. But
really.
and yeah, but there's so Robert Burns is Scots, and that's what was spoken in Glasgow. Gaelic never really was, but there's now a huge effort to get Gaelic more widely known across.
I,
And there's even a Scots Gaelic on Duolingo. I noticed recently.
I'm doing it. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, you're using the
definitely.
Duolingo one?
Yeah, yeah. I started off using because we learned it in school when I was in on Sky, and then because after my granddad passed away and it was just my granny, it occurred to me that yeah, her cousins had all passed away and they used to talk Gaelic to each other all the time. And when you spoke to them, they would talk to each other in Gaelic and come back to you and talk English. And so I learned it to I say learn it. I've been learning it to chat to my granny, which is funny because all that happens is I gear up to go right. I'm going to get my best Gaelic on, and I'll just say like, Matin va granny Kimera Hashiv and you, and then she'll be like, oh, that's so lovely speaking, and she'll just be made up, and then it's like, well, that's all I needed to say. She's really happy. I don't need to say anything else. But yeah, it's a nice thing. So yeah, my wife actually is also learning it. So we're two people that are part of the Gaelic revival.
Does she also have Scottish blood in her? Then your wife, is she
No,
also?
no, no, not at all. No.
That's so. When you were, did you say you were in Skye for a few years, 3 years as a kid?
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah.
And for that time, then, did you? I mean, could you speak it then? Is it you spoke it and have kind of lost it and are relearning it, or did you? How proficient
I
were you?
spoke. I knew at that time. I knew how to count. I knew the basic phrases, how to ask if I could use the bathroom, and those very basic things. And I would do that because all of my older relatives on the island spoke Gaelic to each other. That was their language. And when we went to the church there, everybody in the church spoke Gaelic, and they had a church service in Gaelic and then one in English.
Yeah,
So it was polite to try and speak the language whenever you could. I think when I most recently went, which is when I took Marie for the first time, I spoke to the neighbour who was learning Gaelic a little bit because she was going out to further Hebrides Isles and stuff, and where they still speak it a bit more. But she said, no one anywhere around here really speaks Gaelic anymore. So I can't actually believe that in my lifetime it's transformed that much. That like on Skye, from my memory on Skye,
yeah.
loads of people spoke Gaelic, and now nearly nobody does. And Marie actually, she doesn't have Scottish in her, no, but she has she totally fell head over heels for Skye, as so many people do, because it's just beautiful, right? In fact, you see, I mean, you live in a beautiful part of Scotland anyway, but you see when people show me pictures of New Zealand, they want to go traveling and they're like, look at this, how amazing is this? And they show me the picture and I think that is amazing. I'm not saying it's not, but you could just go to Scotland. Like it's you drive through the northwest of Scotland for 4 hours and see nothing but incredible mountains and lakes. Like you don't have to go halfway. You don't have to go all the way to New Zealand to see that.
If you get Sky on a clear day, I mean, if people only have a day or two on Sky, they might not see anything above 100 feet, right? If the weather closes in, but Sky on a clear day is unparalleled majesty, and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I've always thought the tradition of the Gaelic psalms singing. So I had a friend who was a minister in the very north tip of Skye, Uig and Kenmire, north of Portree. And that kind of Gaelic psalm, I've always felt had a kind of lament flavour to it that if somebody, probably somebody with academically minded, could tie to the blues, there's a crossover there, I think. Some of these laments. But
I hadn't actually thought of that, but I like it.
When you read some of the psalms, you think, man, if this was being written today, this would be a blues song. Just no other genre that this is going to fit.
Gaelic blues. Do you know what, actually, I got a funny music memory. We had to go to this when I was at school on Sky. We went to this, I don't know what it is. We would go to lots of stuff and I didn't know what it was. It'd be really traditional Scottish stuff and I had no idea what I was getting into. But there was a music thing and I had to sing a song on my own in Gaelic. And then we as a collective, our school did a Gaelic rap. And it was possibly the least cool thing ever. But we all did a rap in Gaelic and we were supposed to wear sunglasses and click. And then there was a few kids that couldn't click. So they had to just pretend with their hands like that they were clicking and rapping in Gaelic. That was bizarre. That was bizarre, man. But
I bet that was awesome. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but yeah, that's a nice.
Music memories, special stuff, right? So you must have the Gaelic. I know we're kind of deviating from blues and stuff, but you must, when you're learning Gaelic now, I mean, you must have, even if you didn't have a great vocabulary or a wide vocabulary, at least you know how to get the pronunciations and stuff right, which is a big help.
Yeah, very much so, very much so, and it's amazing as well. And it explains why the accents like yours are the way they are, because the words are literally that way, and it's really, I find that really fascinating when you see the word like Kimara Hau is how are you, right? But ha u are two different, like ha THA u THU. And if you hear the way you'd say how, it's like it's transformed its way into natural speaking. And there's loads of evidence of that all the way across, like the way that you pronounce words and stuff. It makes it shockingly easier to learn than any other language. I'm not great, like I'm like any other Brit. I struggle trying to speak French and I struggle trying to speak German, but Gaelic has made a lot more sense to me than any other language in terms of trying to learn it, which is cool. You should join the revival, Graham. You should join.
Yeah, I'm tempted when you're quoting Gaelic to me, and I'm feeling a bit unpatriotic, and a bit ashamed that I know very little. Most of the Gaelic phrases I know I learned from Runrig songs.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, you know who Runrig are from Skye, or Skye and Lewis, but
sure.
I was just imitating their stuff, and everybody knows Moran Tang, but nobody knows what they're saying it right.
Yeah, no, true. Moran Tang and Aikava as well. A couple of people I've noticed say Aikava, in like a garage or whatever, which is quite nice.
Good. Well, we'll look forward to some Gaelic blues then.
Oh, it's going to be on the cards now, right? Yeah, now that we spoke about it, and you've made the connection of the Gaelic Psalms. Yes, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. That'll be a nice way of cutting through the mix of all the music online. Getting noticed or whatever. Yeah, Gaelic blues.
Yeah, and now that Running, they're retired, 8 or 9 years or something. So there's a gap there. A gap in the market.
There's a gap there. Okay, okay, maybe we'll get it.
So where do you see yourself going now? Obviously, you've been promoting Bones and you're going around and playing gigs and getting the music out there. Do you have like a longer term plan beyond at the moment just getting this out there and shared?
I think like my my ideas of success, whatever that means, have changed incredibly over the years. And when I was younger, like, I don't know, like anyone else that age or whatever, I was like, it'd be really nice to do really well. You know, it'd be really nice to actually like really get your music out there and get appreciated and make some money and this, that, and the other. As you get older, the idea of being recognized and stuff is not as nice a one. And then also you realize how actually hard it is to actually be noticed by any amount of people at all. You have to really shout about it. And then there comes a point where it's like, at what point do you enjoy the journey? So to be truthful, now where I'm at is this kind of thing, just this, like talking to yourself, sending an album digitally or whatever, hundreds of miles away from where I live, somebody listening to it, liking it, and then me having a chat with them on their blues show. I'd just like to do a bit more of that. You know, we've had a few gigs lately. Played the Blues Bar in Harrogate. That was really good. We played Mr. Wolf's in Bristol on Friday. That was amazing. And I just want to do loads more of that, really. You know, it's nice to get to a point where you put the work in. And when it comes to recording music and releasing it, just the idea that like a decent amount of people that would like it get to hear it and then listen to it. That's kind of all that really matters, I think. So, you know, don't get me wrong. It'd be really nice to have like some real success, you know, get on the telly or any of that sort of stuff. But ultimately, like, we sort of live in an age now where digitally we're so connected that the goalposts for me have been moved entirely. Like, the amount of people that now have heard the song Old Time Train, for example.
Yeah.
If we were looking at like 25 years ago, which isn't even that long ago, if that amount of people had heard that song then, they'd have had to, I suppose, listen to it on the radio or listen to it on CD or tape or whatever. That would be like, I don't know, that would be like I'm guessing, but that would be like an overwhelming success, like borderline fame level success. And now we live in a world where I can get tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people to, in some way, some form, hear a song of mine. And that's just, you know, that's like, yeah, I'm sort of, in a way, I'm already doing what the goal is. I just want to do more of it. Yeah. Ultimately, do more of what I think is good, what I like to do, and less of anything that doesn't align with that, basically. That's really the only goal there is, I think. If that makes any sense, that, you know, word salad and all that.
No, I can never criticize anybody for word salad, but I think that you're right. I mean, you've got something to share and something to say that's worth hearing. And my kind of hope for you is that exactly what you've said, that more and more people get to benefit from that. I'm guessing from looking at your gig list that you have the one that you do in Bath is the what's it called? The
Green Park Brasserie, yeah.
Is that like a weekly gig if MD's in Bath? Because I noticed so you're there like 11th and then the 18th and the 25th. Is that just a regular, or is that your open mic night? Or
I'm there a lot. That's fairly coincidental that they're on the.
All right, okay.
The looks like yeah, they are. It tends to be either Wednesday or Thursday that I play there, and it's most weeks that I play there. They have a roster of people that they like to cycle through. Green Park Brasserie is more of a sort of jazz cafe. It's a very lovely place. They do amazing pizza, and they treat me really well. And it's sort of nice to have like a regular gig. So no, it's not an open mic night or anything like that. It's a gig. And I go and play while people eat. But it's a very lovely gig. I'm there tomorrow actually, and yeah, it's one where, you know, you play while people eat, but then people slowly get in. It's not like a, you know, like a gig where everyone's locked in from the beginning, but it's very lovely. It's very intimate, and then you end up having nice chats with people, and I get to play, you know, anything I want, and it's very nice. But yeah, you know, if anyone's ever in Bath, look me up.
And you're back up here at the end of the month, Fort William.
Yeah, I've been. So my dad, actually, shout out to my dad. He does my website for me. He's good at that sort of stuff. I'm terrible at technology. So I send him the following month, which doesn't show fully what the tour actually is. So at some point I'll share it as a tour. But that little tour will be, we head up to Keswick, I believe. We go Cockermouth on the Thursday, Keswick at the Pocket on the Friday. That's a great place to play. a really good music venue. And then we head up Fort William, and then it's the 1st of March, so that's why that's not out there yet. We've got a gig at Seamus's Bar on the Isle of Skye. And then the 6th of March, we're playing at the Old Inn in Carbost on the Isle of Skye.
Right, yeah. Wow.
Really nice pub. And then after that, the next day, we're playing in Redcar, in the northeast, near Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a bit of a mission, but we'll do it. And then the day after that, we're back in Keswick for one more, and then we come back home. So
sounds good.
Yeah. But I think there's a good 4 days of no gigs on the Isle of Skye. So I should probably take advantage of that, right?
Aye. It's not all work and no play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Listen, I've loved chatting to you. You've been so generous with your time. We've been chatting for just over an hour, and I really appreciate it. And we could chat all day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share about your music, or where you want to go, or anything that you had in your mind that you thought you'd get out?
I guess just if anyone listens to this that would even slightly be on the fence as to whether to make the trip out to come see me/us live somewhere near them, whatever, just please do. They've got no idea how much that just makes my day. It's exactly what I love. And when people come to a gig and they've gone, "Oh, I've come especially to see you from any particular distance," it's just the best thing in the world. And I'm trying my best to make the performances, well worth your time. And I love to perform. I love to play. It's awesome. So thank you so much. And I just want to say as well, thank you to you, Graham, for what you do, and people like yourself as well. I spoke to David Harding Price. Can't remember what the radio station is called, but Poacher Sounds Radio. That was it. His blues show. He was lovely as well. And folks like yourselves, just if everything else dissipated into nothing, but I could still do this and chat to guys like yourself and have music out there that way, then we'd still be winning, basically. So I'm very appreciative of you and your time as well.
Well, it's a great blessing for me, because these songs come and I play them, and to be able to actually connect with the people who make the music and to give something back is a great privilege. And so to remind people of your website, drewneirin.com, but you're on Facebook, you've got your YouTube channel, you're on Instagram as well, and streaming platforms, Spotify, Amazon Music. I think I and anybody who subsequently listens to this, but I'm sure Jimmy as well has already said, really wish you great success. And the next time that I can possibly get anywhere near close that you are playing, I'll definitely come and get you.
Thanks, Graham. That was amazing. And Jimmy, if I'm playing in Boston, then I hope to see you as well.
Jimmy saying, thanks, gents. We'll check the website to see where you are in April when I'm back. Who knows? Slange. So I don't have a dram here to slash you back, Jimmy, but I think it said he's in Boston. So I recently saw, do you know Erin Harp? Have you ever listened to Erin Harp? She did an album recently of tribute songs to Mississippi John Hurt, Let the Mermaids Flirt. She's from Boston.
Nice.
So if you get a chance to catch her if she's live, Jimmy, when you're have a look at that. But thank you for sticking with us, Jimmy. There was somebody else who was with us for most of the time. I don't know who that was. They didn't say hello, but it's nice that people can tune in. And so I shall say thank you, Jimmy. I'll hit end stream, and then I'll say goodbye to you.
Cool.
There we go.